We have new details right now on breaking news that we've been following in Lakewood. A fire trapped people camping in an abandoned building.
So this happened on Alameda, west of Sheridan in Lakewood. 9 News reporter Lauren Scafidi just spoke with a neighbor and West Metro Fire. Lauren, what have you learned?
West Metro Fire says it is possible that 24 people were using this abandoned gas station as a shelter when a fire broke out. Now that the sun has come up, we can really take a better look at what's going on here. So that roof that's supposed to be red right there, completely charred. You can see all of the black on it. And just below that roof, look at the doorway. The doorway is black. It looks like actually the door is on the ground there. The window is blown out. And just looking through those open spaces, you can see a lot of black on the inside. Moving to the left, let's take a look at this little garage here. You can see that box that was cut out. That neighbor told me that he watched fire crews cut that out to go inside and save those people that were trapped inside. Now also look at this fence down here, this fence on the ground. That neighbor tells me that this fence used to go all the way around the perimeter of this abandoned gas station. So that neighbor also sent me a photo. Take a look at your screen. In this photo, you can see the smoke just billowing from the top of this abandoned gas station. And this isn't the only photo that we have. West Metro also gave us some photos. So take a look at these. The department's photos really give you a better look at how bad the damage is inside. West Metro called the damage extensive. Look at everything that's charred. I mean, you can see black from top to bottom in these photos, as well as the tents, because again, West Metro Fire says people were living in here. The neighbor I spoke to says they've been living here for about a year. The fire happened at around 11 last night. Several people called 911 because they smelled smoke and saw flames coming out of the building near Alameda in Harlan and Lakewood. And I can still smell that smoke this morning. That was one of the first things that we noticed when we got on scene here. Crews rescued people trapped inside. West Metro says one of them went to the hospital. It is unclear how they're doing this morning. West Metro isn't sure what happened to the rest of those people that were trapped inside here. They say that the Red Cross was not involved. So one of the good pieces of news here is that this building stands alone, so no other businesses were impacted, but West Metro is still investigating the cause of this fire this morning. Live in Lakewood, Lauren Scafidi, 9 News.
Appreciate the update. Thank you.
All right, let's take a live look outside right now. This is downtown Denver on your Tuesday morning, sitting at 19 degrees right now out at the airport. Some areas are a lot warmer than that. Really depends. The weather is It's Colorado weather, pretty much. Chris is going to have the details here in just a moment on why things are kind of in flux this morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Corey Rose.
And I'm Jordan Chavez. Good morning, everybody. Let's get a check of that forecast now with senior meteorologist Chris Bianchi. And Chris, we're seeing some fog in areas this morning.
We're seeing that mainly in the east side of the metro area, and you can see exactly what Mother Nature's up to right now. So what's going on? You might remember yesterday between about noon and 3 p.m. with this very shallow Arctic cold front move through. It dropped temperatures by about 20 degrees in 20 minutes out at the airport. That shallow Arctic air mass has not gone anywhere, except it also hasn't traveled up into the foothills. So where this camera is, about 7,300 feet in elevation above Golden. This is Lookout Mountain. Looking down from 7,300 feet to about 5,800 feet here into Golden. Where this camera is, it is 48 degrees right now. Where you're looking at there in Golden, 21 degrees. That cold, dense air cannot travel up. It's stuck, thanks to good old gravity, there at the surface, and that's why we're seeing those clouds and that colder air there at the surface there in Golden. Meantime, east side of the metro area, half to maybe 3/4 mile visibility for us. I-225 on south into Dove Valley, and those temperatures, that's what I was just talking about a second ago. Teens and 20s northeast Colorado. Look at this, Evergreen, 7,500 feet in elevation. Conifer, 7,800 feet in elevation. 46, 44 degrees. Estes Park, 7,300 feet in elevation. You're at 49 degrees. Loveland, of course, everything here, you're looking at below 6,000 feet in elevation along I-25, and that's why it's colder. And you get below 5,000 feet. Akron, Fort Morgan, you're in the single digits and teens there on the banks of the South Platte River. Bus stop forecast, 25 degrees, chilly as you head off to school for the kiddos, and meantime about 48 as you get home from that school day there in Denver. Today, we top out at 51, partly sunny skies, high temperatures, mostly 40s, 50s, northeast Colorado, 40s for us in the high country. And those overall headlines, cool today, wind tomorrow, along with some mountain snow. Details on all this and our next big change. All that coming up for you in my full forecast in a couple minutes. Brianna.
Chris, thank you so much for those heading out the door. 7:05 is your time for this Tuesday morning. A live look from several of our CDOT cameras. We are getting pretty busy out there, especially up and down I-25 and I-225. So we were tracking several crashes. Right now we have the latest crash, I-225 heading into I-25 this morning. You can see crews have that left lane partially blocked, and you can see these backups that we're seeing right near Parker and I-225. Then we have another crash, Thornton Parkway and I-25 for those heading southbound. So you can see crews just arrived on scene, and this is causing a mess for those right behind the crash along southbound I-25. So I do want to switch things over to our main maps real quick. Zoom into the Thornton Parkway area. That's where we're seeing that crash on the express lane. So again, the express lane is partially blocked at the moment with crews there on scene. It's going to take you about 30 minutes this morning. There's about a 4 to 5 mile delay from 144th all the way down to 76. This is what you can expect, especially in the North Glen Federal Heights area. Now let's talk about the I-225 corridor, where we are seeing a crash as soon as you approach I-25 this morning. So again, this is right near DTC Boulevard. Those speed times are clocking in at 8 miles per hour in that area. If you are taking the I-225 corridor from I-70 heading into I-25, it's going to be a 34-minute drive. And there you have it, I-25 downtown to the Tech Center. We're seeing southbound delays as well because of an earlier crash. So we're seeing residual delays, 22-minute drive if you're heading south, 17 if you're heading north.
All right, Brianna, thank you. It is now 7:07. Let's give you a live look at the White House this morning. Today, we are expecting to hear from President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in a joint press conference. A White House official says this will take place during Netanyahu's visit to the White House, but didn't provide specific details on when it will happen today. This will mark Trump's first formal press conference of his second term. According to the American Presidency Project at the University of California, Trump held 88 press conferences during his first term. Former President Joe Biden held 37 press conferences during his term.
Next week, Vice President J.D. Vance will head to Europe for his first international trip since taking office. He's expected to visit France and Germany. Vance is scheduled to attend the AI Action Summit in Paris, followed by the Munich Security Conference. Former Vice Presidents Kamala Harris and Mike Pence have also attended the conference. Dozens of Marines are in Guantanamo Bay this morning. They left North Carolina yesterday at the direction of President Trump. Military service members are supporting holding operations led by the Department of Homeland Security at Naval Station Guantanamo Bay. The Marines will join other military personnel already on the ground at the massive facility. Last week, President Trump signed an executive order clearing the way for detained migrants to be housed at the facilities at Guantanamo Bay. Right now, the tariffs on Canada and Mexico are on hold for 1 month. President Trump said he wanted to impose those tariffs to get Canada and Mexico to do more to stop the flow of illegal immigrants and fentanyl into the United States. Both countries have already committed to doing so in the past. The month-long pause will allow time for Canada and Mexico to try and negotiate a deal with the U.S. to avoid the tariffs altogether. And new tariffs on China take effect today. Now other U.S. trade partners are worried they're next. This morning, Europe is bracing for a potential trade showdown with the U.S. The president of the European Commission says she wants to start negotiations with the U.S. early. Trump says he plans to have talks with Beijing soon. As of today, U.S.-based companies must pay a 10% tariff on Chinese imports. China says it's responding with tariffs on a few U.S. exports after an initially muted response. In response to potential tariffs starting today, Ontario, Canada is banning all American alcohol from its liquor stores. The Liquor Control Board of Ontario says it will also take U.S. products out of its catalog so other retailers can't order or restock those items. A move to freeze federal grants and loans will stay on pause for at least 2 more weeks. The judge issued a temporary restraining order on Monday, just before a previous block against the aid freeze was about to expire. The order prohibits the Trump administration from freezing trillions of dollars in federal spending that was previously granted by the government. A group of nonprofits sued the administration over the funding issue. The judge, who was appointed by former President Biden, said that the nonprofits are, quote, likely to succeed in their case against the government. This morning, the FBI is running out of time to respond to a Department of Justice demand. Acting Director Brian Driscoll has until this afternoon to give President Trump a list of employees who worked on January 6 investigations. Driscoll is reportedly considering multiple options for his response. He could give them no information and simply say he is responsible for all Bureau employees. He may also provide the names of only senior executives, or he could hand over a detailed list of everyone involved. The demand was sent Friday by Trump appointees at the Justice Department.